It's September 29th, 1992. We're just beginning our coverage at the west end of Scattery Island at Western Point Light and Western Point Cove. We're flying at about 400 feet and 60 to 80 kilometers or miles per hour. And it's roughly 1800 hours Atlantic Daylight Time. As you get a good view here of the outer exposed coast of Scattery, it's mostly bedrock outcrop and the foreshore, nearshore, but there are some intermittent pockets, cobble beaches. And you can see where the waves have run right up through the rock outcrops to erode the backshore glacial deposits, which extend to about 15 meters in this location. Following along Hatchet Rock Cove, we're starting to get a view of Pigeon Head Cove, where there's a much better developed pebble cobble barrier and beach anchored to this eroded rocky headland. There's more sand in the lower intertidal, but it's gravel and gravel overwash deposits. Actually, there's a small outlet that's been just barely closed off by sediment at that lake. As we continue farther on, you get substantial high gravel beaches that head to the embayments and rocky eroder coast. We're just rounding Fluke Head, elevation 15 meters at the back, a very wide wave splash zone back to the vegetation line, and a slightly higher rock shore. Slumping onto the beach. So mainly bedrock here, very little unconsolidated sediment. But you could get in the wave wash zone, you're getting almost up to the vegetated mat there. Now flying around Tin Cove Head, you get a view into Tin Cove. It's a longer embayment on Scattery Island. It's headed by a very steep pebble cobble barrier beach, which fronts a lake you can see in the distance. The outer coast is very little consolidated sediment, mostly all bedrock. It should be a difficult area to clean because of all the rock, but there's intermittent beaches, mostly gravel to cobble size, glacial outcrops and glacial deposits, occasional found on top of the bedrock. Some of them get up to maybe 6 or 7 meters high. Here it may be hard to make out, but there is some unconsolidated sediment between the rocks. As we round Howe Point, you can see it's a very low line with a thin cover of glacial deposits over rock outcrop. You can see there's a few small pocket pebble cobble beaches, but for the most part, most of the unconsolidated sediment has been removed. Where you see the waves funneling between the rock, you get a very steep gravel beach formed, and splash zone comes right up into the vegetation. Southwest side of the island. We're getting rain now. You can see the bedrock orientation has changed slightly, running more parallel to shore. Again, though, you just get intermittent pocket beaches. Scattery Island and Hay Island, which you'll get a good view of in a minute. And you can just see we picked up another one of these small shoals seen on bedrock that has been developed. Very little sediment, quite coarse. We're into a reddish material. Not sure of the bedrock at this point. We've got more of appropriated beachridge complex. See the liniments there and the old house for scale in the back shore. We're just getting to the southern end of Scattery Island where the lighthouse is. As we get to the more wave exposed end of Eastern Harbor, we see first one beach exposed to the east and then another one to the southeast where they're well-developed cusps in these pebble beaches, and you see a variable thickness of till over the bedrock with the beaches in between the low headlands. And there's the lighthouse on Scattery Island. It's getting somewhat exposed to wave action. It's quite close with the 3-meter thick glacial deposits over top of bedrock. And as you can see going around it, there's probably some strong tidal currents cutting between these rock outcrops and the main shore. There's a good view looking on Scattery Island and the Coast Guard complex. A lot of birds on the rookeries here. Not sure the type though. Gull of some sort, possibly. No, I can't tell. Heading down the northeast side of the island, we're getting more glacial deposits. Again, that's probably 5 meters thick over top of a coarse gravel beach with sandy lower intertidal. Occasionally you see there's quite a bit of log debris been thrown up into the top of the beach. There's an old road that's been cut into by the sea. Log debris along that, the white stuff that you see. So there would have been a road between some of the buildings along here. After that, access would have to be by either helicopter or boat. Boat access would be hard though because of the rocky nature of the shore. Shoreline relief is getting higher now. We're getting up to about, I would guess, 20 meters. Most of it's rock outcrop, but there's glacial deposits that extend from up to 5 meters thick, I guess. I'll make it 2 to 3 meters thick. seems to be maybe a change in the orientation of the bedrock along here, also a variable thickness in the glacial deposits. Most of the beaches are very coarse, cobble, boulder, very poor sorting, except for the beaches just coming into view in a minute here. You see better sorting along the lower foreshore of pebble material. Rock outcrop, upper intertidal, coarse, cobble, pebble material, and glacial deposits on the high part of the beach. Coming around Friar Point, there's again a change in the orientation of the bedrock, thinning of the glacial deposits on the back shore. And here we get a good view of Northwest Cove coming up now with some better developed beaches. We get a substantially better developed beach, which was oiled during the Kyrgyzstan oil spill. In fact, we had to put an oil deposit in the top of the beach. Small outlet from that lake to the beach. Rock outcrop in the central part of the beach. Is much more sand along the lower intertidal here. A lot of log debris at the top of the beach, and it's a very steep gravel beach, which stops abruptly at the rock outcrop. Here the relief is around 10-15 meters. The old road follows all the way along shore. Much more rugged rock coast changes into a very well-developed sandy pebble barrier in front of these two lakes in Savage Cove. Very well-sorted material, and then it switches back into more pocket beaches within the rock outcrops. This moderate to low rocky shore continues, very irregular, very small pocket beaches, except for this one coming into view now, which has a couple well-developed swash ridges in the lower part of the beach. Again, the relief has increased substantially. Glacial deposits have also increased in thickness over the bedrock, but the beach development is very intermittent. The orientation of the bedrock is at an angle to the shore. The beaches are angled to the south, east. 1 to 3 meters of glacial deposits in the backshore over top of rock outcrop, intermittent pebble cobble beaches. There coming across this part of the shoreline, but it'd be hard to get vehicles along here. It's a very rugged shore to try and clean up. We got some rock outcrop just offshore, probably about 50 to 100 meters, and then you've got rock, good rock exposed all along this shore. It's quite a bit higher too. It's probably 10 to 20 meters in height all along here. In fact, some of it may even extend to 30 meters. There's a well-developed pocket beach, sandy pebble. Along here, the backshore is primarily rock with variable thickness of glacial deposits. At waterline, there's pocket sand and pebble beaches and rock. Still highly irregular. In the background, you can see the highway that leads to Baton and Neil Cove. There is a fringing beach at low tide. We're just on the rising tide now. Low tide was around 1740, and the time now is 1815. So we're seeing most of the intertidal. Houses give a bit of scale to the picture, and these fringing beaches. That one has a small cut in it to the lake, but it's pretty well closed off. There's access all along here by the main highway. There could be maybe some sand deposits just offshore. A little bit more sand in the foreshore along here. Many of the cliffs, glacial debris, have got vegetation in front of them, so they don't look like they're eroding as fast in places. As we leave Baton, the highway splits. Mainland goes inland, and we're following the one towards Catalone Beach. Here you can see the beach is less continuous. There's more cliffs, which probably feed Catalone Beach. There's a thicker glacial deposits, and offshore you get intermittent sand and gravel, it looks like. Sediment you see here is a lighter colored material, is of course cobble, pebble. The lower material has more sand in it, but again it's mainly a granular pebble size. Essential glacial deposit here, and it must feed the Catalone Beach complex that we're just going to pass over. So where the road cuts across the top of the barrier, appears to be maybe wave overwash as far as the road, and of course it'd be kept clean. Underneath the bridge there's an outlet inlet to the large Catalone lake system. A bit of an ebb shield to it, but pretty small at low tide, but it's quite substantial opening at high tide. September 29th, 1992. And here, as you come across beyond Catalone Beach, you're getting a much thicker glacial deposits. Narrower beach, so a bit more sand in the lower intertidal. Point in the Catalone Gut area. You can see there's a small opening into the lake there, as there is at McKeegan's Point. Primarily pebble, but some sand as well here. Let's do more sand offshore. An erosion also deposited as a headland. And we're just picking up the opening in MacDonald Pond now. There appears to be sort of a sand or a cribwork structure all along the shore. Quite a bit of lumber debris. MacDonald Pond, you've got more sand in the lower foreshore, upper gravel storm bridge. Following the main highway along shore towards Myra Gut. Again, you've got more cribwork or timber. And coming up on Myra Gut now, you can see the entrance to the Myra River underneath the bridge. A fairly substantial cribwork structure. On the eastern side of it, there's an extensive sand beach with dunes and trails through it. And it's probably accumulated because of the breakwater. And then as you move further along shore, you're getting intermittent cribwork structures. Probably used to be old wharfs and a mixed sediment beaches. So much shelter just in along here.